conducting the same subject for them, big data analytics. And also I am the chief information officer with Brain Tower Oman. It is a 21-year-old company which is at Oman. And apart from all these, I keep conducting sessions all around the world. I won't say India, all around the world. And as on today, apart from this formal training which I've done at Marwadi University, and before this with Presidency University and many other places, I have conducted over 900 hours of the formal classes, formal session. Before this pandemic, it was face to face. Now, just because of pandemic, it is on the virtual media. So this is the small little experience of mine, and I would request all of you, this concept of big data analytics is a wonderful concept, and I am very sure you must be knowing it. As on today, it is not the computer engineers who are highest paid in the industry. It is the data scientists who are highest paid professionals in the industry. I am a full stack data scientist. So I would request you and to please pay utmost attention to this complete session, because anybody, at least one or two of you performing really well, I will offer you a job at Sultanate of Oman. Because for this company, for you to work with this Brain Tower at Oman, I'll offer you at the end of the course, provided your performance is good in this course and you show interest. And as on today, I'm doing 3 R&D projects. One, I'm doing it for the GCC nations. GCC, I'm sure you must be knowing, it is a conglomeration of all these Arab nations. And second, I'm doing it for Democratic Republic of Congo. And the third, I'm doing it for an industry in Bangalore, all in data science, nothing other than in data science. As part of your syllabus, which we will be scheduling from the next week onwards, we will be learning about the top 10 the trending technologies in data science, which I have tried to cover almost all of them. The session would run on for about 50 hours, and there are some expectations which I have got from you guys, which I'll tell you subsequently. We will be covering on R, where it will be and all of these sessions, what we will be covering will be purely hands-on, and examples we take will be industry relevant examples, case studies from the industry, and all problems which we will be doing will be with regard to what the industry wants, not what an educational institution wants. R, we will be doing statistics for big data analytics using R. Also, we will be seeing on the NoSQL database, for which we will see the number one NoSQL database in the industry, which is MongoDB, which once again is hands-on. Everything is hands-on. Then we will see on some of the aspects of predictive analytics. Predictive analytics were using Python. We would see it on predictive analytics using Python. Then we would also see on the concept of advanced NLP, natural language processing, the advanced concepts in NLP. We would see on a very trending technology of today on the concept of big data lake. We will see how this big data lake plays its part in data science. Also, we will delve into the concept of this Hadoop technology, that is, we will see on Hadoop, MapReduce, we would see on Pig, Hive, Kafka, right all the way till Spark. But as far as possible, we will use for all of these technologies, we will be using Python. And we would also definitely be seeing on the concept of Tableau, which is the number one data visualization tool in the entire world. Please understand, friends, Tableau professionals are the highest paid professionals in the world. But what gives me a little bit of dissatisfaction is, after having traveled along the all around the length and breadth of the country and as well as the world, what I see in India, at least more than 95% of training institutes which conduct a course in Tableau, they just conduct on dragging and dropping of data and you creating some output. Friends, please understand, industry then does not require you. What we will be doing is what the industry wants. Please understand, Tableau is a concept which rests on 3 legs. The first leg is what is taught in any of these training institutes, like where you drag and drop a lot of things and create some wonderful plots. Second is when you clean up the data or prepare the data to be admitted to Tableau. Please understand, more than 95% of data which is admitted to Tableau is unclean data in an unorganized form. We will see how do we get it in the rectangular state or the data in a rectangular format before being admitted to Tableau. And the third leg is adding business intelligence to Tableau, which is the only one the entire industry requires as on today. And this adding business intelligence is only possible when you connect up R engine or Python engine along with Tableau. We will see how do we integrate R or Python and how do we code it. But please understand, friends, even the Python code which you write or the R code which you write, when you integrate Tableau with R or Python, is totally different from the standard way of writing a code in R or Python. It calls for a different skill set. But I would say none of these concepts are difficult, provided you show interest. And how much I would cover, since for you your sessions are restricted to 45 minutes each, my only request is, more and more you demand from me, I would convey more amount of knowledge to you. You ask me for more, I give you more amount of knowledge. And thereafter we would even see Spark, which is a framework for data science, which we would see Spark using Python. And we would, if time permits, we would also see next generation big data tools, what is trending the industry as on today. Because you are in a third or fifth semester or whichever semester, by the time you pass out, it would take some time for you at that time to hit on the industry and derive maximum benefit. This is very essential. And also I would request each one of you to do one thing. The minute this course gets over, I would request you, please do an internship in this big data analytics. And where do you get internship? It should be from a company which is working with live data. I don't want even a single person amongst you to spend one single rupee for your internship. I will get you internship free of cost. So please do an internship in big data analytics, which would be for 3 to 4 months. It would be really taxing, that is for sure. None of the internship would be comfortable where you sit at the comfort of your house and do something. So definitely it would be taxing. You have to work on that and definitely produce results. Okay, now what is this? Why is that somebody has taken off the share part of the screen from me? Kindly let's okay, so we see all the way from R till Spark. Now coming to the expectation, what I have got from you guys, I'll request you, please be on time. See, although my entire day, 24 hours, I'm extremely busy, but I make it a point that at least 5 to 10 minutes before the commencement of session, I'm there. I don't like to make anybody wait. I would request you guys also the same. You show interest and I will reciprocate. If you don't show interest, why should I be interested? So please show interest, for the reason that today you are on the other side, you are in the concept of learning. Definitely you will be learning wonderful things. So let's get along well with each other and be on time for the class. There will be n number of assignments, mini projects given to you, for you, which will not be an academic assignment or a project. It will entail you to strain yourself. It will entail you to do more and more and more. I don't know whether Bari sir, do they have anything like a canvas for these students, sir?
No, they don't have it, sir.
Okay, what I will do, I have got an account with Canvas. I will take all of you on board with me at the Canvas, which is a web-based platform. You will get a ping on your mobile and on your email saying that there is an assignment or whatever is there. So there is no way that you can escape, and definitely all the marks will be visible for you on the dashboard of the Canvas. So you can see wherever you are, whenever you are. So there will be, because assignments and all these things will be at par for everybody. And coming to the mini projects that you would be doing, you would be doing it in small groups where you would be coming out with results. And once again, whenever you're doing a mini project, if at all you have not understood, no problem. Perfectly fine. Even if you're not understood, you get back to me well in time. That is why one or two slides earlier, what did I show you? I showed you my contact number. That is the only mobile number I have got. I don't have two, three mobiles. There's only mobile number. You can reach out to me, or you can drop a mail to me telling that you have not understood. Once again, you want something, some extra class, no problem. We will somehow schedule it at some time which is convenient for you as well as me. But please understand, friends, unless you demand more, you will not get more. You have to demand. Don't worry, you in whatever way, either by mail or by on your phone call, you can speak to me. Come out with what your problems are so that we are able to help you out. So, before we begin this course, you would require some knowledge, although I have not written R. R I will cover to you right from beginning. Since as the backbone for this entire course, we will be using Python, I will request you to please brush up your knowledge on Python. And once again, please mark my words in bold and underline that you have to brush up your knowledge on Python. And when we learn on Hadoop, since Hadoop has been written in Java, you have to be conversant with Java. Now, I would tell you one thing, but it will be something like 96, 97% of the entire course in Python, just 2 3% in Java. And that also we will keep it to a bare minimal, because the language of Python is trending the industry, and they are the people who are much required in the industry. See, I can give you a small instance. It was somewhere in January of this year. I was called to IBM at Bangalore for the head office of IBM, that is at Koramangala, where I was told to conduct a 4.5 months course, a face-to-face course in data science for the working employees. And please believe me, there was not a single working employee in IBM who was with less than 6.5 years of experience with IBM. So when I began the session on day one, I asked them, how do you rate yourself in Python? Which is a standard question which I ask wherever I go on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 means you don't know anything, 10 means you are excellent. Believe me, all the participants, they rated themselves nothing less than 6.5, 7 and upwards. I felt it is too good. They are excellent. Then I told them, I'm sorry, friends, I have come to a wrong place, because me, although practicing Python for so many years, I don't rate myself more than 1 out of 10. Python is an ocean. Trust me, after 3 to 4 days of training, one of the lady stood up and she told me, Suresh, I want to tell you something. We don't rate ourselves even 0, because Python is a massive ocean. It's a massive ocean. Please do not be, I told you this for the reason that please do not be overconfident that you know too much in Python. Friend, please understand, the Python that you know is the Python which only an academic institute wants, which the industry does not want. See, generally, since I have traveled the length and breadth of this country, I have conducted sessions at NIT, the erstwhile REC Mysore, at BITS Pilani, but it is a shocking thing for me when I see what is taught over there. And as on today, I am conducting formal training in data science, that is including end to end of Python, for a 140-hour course for a big institute at Bangalore. At that time, I have got students from all over the country. It is a shocking thing when I see the level of Python that they know. So kindly, my request to you is, please brush up your knowledge. Please understand the fundamentals of Python. Like what I say, unless your fundamentals are clear, you cannot proceed ahead. You have to make your fundamentals so strong that your nobody is able to even shake it up for you. Definitely, we will work using that. And what we will do, we will now thereafter go into the concept of understanding big data analytics. Please understand, the last slide I told you that we will be using Python. We will be using any of the 4 IDE of Python, which I feel you must be knowing. The one first IDE is maybe a standalone version of Python which I download from the internet. Second, I can use Python as part of Jupyter Notebook. Qt console or Spider, which is a part of Anaconda Navigator. The third, I can use Google Colab, wherein I use Python. Or fourth, I can use the REPL editor, REPL, read, evaluate, print loop of Python. Can somebody in this big crowd of today, how many of you are there? Around 48 of you are there. Can you please tell me what is the difference in the Python if I use it on a standalone version of Python, or I use it as part of Anaconda Navigator, that is Jupyter Notebook, Qt Console, or Spider? Can you tell me what is the difference in this Python, please? Anybody?
So we get a lot of assistance using IDEs.
From where?
In using
Mohammed
an
Faisal?
IDEs like Jupyter or VS Code, we get a lot of
No,
help using for writing the code.
no. You're wrong. You're wrong. Totally wrong, Mohammed. Don't worry. Anybody else? One more person, somebody. Anybody? Okay, fine. See, what happens is, see, we will first compare the difference between the standalone version of Python, that is a standalone package, or any of this Python editor as part of Jupyter Notebook. Sorry, part of Anaconda Navigator. The difference is when you run Python, the code is 100% the same, both in a standalone version or as part of Anaconda Navigator. But what happens is when you write a code in Anaconda Navigator, the code is executed 4 to 5 times faster than Python would execute in a standalone version. Why? Because you're running IPython, interactive Python on Anaconda Navigator. That is the beauty of coding over there. And now coming to the next tool of Google Colab. See, the problem, the big advantage of Google Colab over Anaconda Navigator is that although the code once again being 100% the same, what happens when you use these heavy algorithms in deep learning, when you write bigger and bigger codes, massive codes, where you're what happened, Suman Zareen wants to annotate the content. What happened, Suman? You want to ask me something? Continuously
Yes, I'm
she's been
sorry.
trying.
No,
Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Okay, so see, the difference is when you run it on Google Colab, what happens? See, Google Colab has supports GPU, graphical processing units. Otherwise, when you run this heavy deep learning algorithms, it will entail that you install additional GPU on your system, hardware GPU, which will cost money. Why at all do you want to spend money for that? If you want it free of cost, please use Google Colab. Definitely you can do in that, save your file, share it, whatever you want to do. But it's a big dichotomy when it comes to the programmers. There are one group of programmers say we won't use Google Colab for the reason that whatever you do on Google Colab, whether you save it or don't save it, one copy of that is retained by Google. So they say when I am developing, it is my efforts, why should I give it to Google and tell them you use my content? Not at all. So they refrain from using that. That is only as far as say you're working in some big multinational company where it requires you to develop end-to-end program, runtime program of this. No problem. You can use any of this ID which I told you, this 4 ID which I told you. But don't worry. Whatever we do, the examples we take, we will solve lots and lots of real world problems using Python as part of a journey in big data analytics. Because see, till the time you just learn all these concepts and you're happy, finally when you go to the industry, it is a shocking thing for you. You don't know how to solve an industry problem. So we will prepare you right from day one on how do you solve an industry problem, what is that in Python you call for, what is that is required, and how do you do it. That we will get into this concept. Now let's get little bit or strengthen up your fundamentals in big data analytics. See friends, you must very well be knowing, and in any case, although our 50 hours which I would be with you commencing today, you can stop me whenever you want. You can ask me whatever kind of doubt you want, whatever you want, you can ask me, tell me, no problem. I'm fine with everything. Don't wait for me to come to the end of the session and then ask you if you got some doubt. Whenever, wherever you want, you can ask me anything. It's perfectly fine for me. See, this concept of big data is the revolutionary word in today's world. Why? Because of its influence on several domains. See, somehow the debates that have been emerging over the last few years around big data are very similar to those that took place about the web in the early 90s. See, after a long and active discussion phase in the literature, big data, what it did, it entered a phase of use by many, many companies. One of the reasons big data has become so popular is that the availability of data has improved. And this phenomenon has radically changed the way data is collected and analyzed, since it introduces new issues concerning the volume. But how much? Velocity at what speed? And variety, that is how diverse of data available today. When you get into this depth of big data, you will understand all these things. Now, before we go further, see, as on today, friends, please understand, there is not a single educational institution in whole of India. Why India? Whole of this world, which covers or which conducts a structured course in Julia. You must be knowing, although this concept in big data or data science or data mining or whatever you say, data analytics, whatever, can be done using right from C, C++, Java, everything. You can use anything. But even your most dearest friend of Java, if you use Java, what will happen? There will be many a times where you'll reach a dead end. Definitely you'll reach a dead end. You will not be able to proceed ahead. So that is why Python, since it being flexible, having more than 1,20,000 libraries, wonderfully well, yeah, Python handles all these problems. Now, for this reason, what we will do, if at all time permits, once again, if at all time permits, I'll conduct a structured course in Julia for you, so that you know what is that the industry wants. Please understand, entire industry is moving towards Python and Julia, and there are a lot of places where R is preferred. I'll tell you as we proceed ahead, where is that R is used, why is it that R is preferred, and where is it that you use Python and Julia. We will have a hands-on session on even using Julia. It's a wonderful tool. Julia to a very large extent resembles R, and to some large extent even resembles C++, the coding in Julia. So since you must have learned C, C++, definitely it should be convenient for you. And now in this big group, if at all somebody feels, don't worry, if at all you feel I'm bad in programming, I don't know the syntax, I don't know what to do in programming, perfectly fine. You don't want to speak in public, you personally can reach out to me by mail or mobile. We will help you out so that you are got to the expectations of the class, because you are wonderful students, and I expect that you reach the topmost level by the time the course gets over. Okay, see, we need to really understand that there is no analytics without any kind of data. See, nowadays what happens, it does not take much to convince managers or decision makers of the importance of data for their business activities, because most business activities are associated with the use, understanding, and exploitation of data. Now, let's see an example. I say there are some four numbers like 1, 10, 28, and 80. Now, for a normal person, these are just four numbers. But if someone says 10,000 YouTube videos have generated more than 1 billion views, or somebody even says men spend 28% more money online than women, and yet another example being almost 80% of time spent on social media platform happens on mobile, then these numbers of which we said of this 1, 10, 28, and 80 become a piece of information that can help you to know more about certain events. We very well know, friends, data is nothing but a collection of facts such as numbers, words, measurements, observations, or even just description of things, which give more information about an individual, an object, or an observation. Now, since I was mentioning about data, another prerequisite for you before we continue this course, please little bit strengthen up on the statistics part of it. That is, or right from how do you calculate mathematically mean, median, mode, standard deviation, IQ or interquartile range, variance, all these concepts, because they are very important in big data analytics. We will transform all that using R and Python and write the code. But provided you know how do you find out that, or the mathematics behind that, which we won't be able to go ahead, because what happens, this it becomes a big headache if you start doing all that. Then this 50 hours which I'm engaged with you will be grossly insufficient if you start doing the mathematics part of it and then get into such kind of detail that we do mathematics, then we are totally off track. Okay, so see, all these are nothing but, like I told you sometime back, data. See, data is nothing but a collection of facts, such as it can be numbers, words, measurements, observations, or even just description of things, which gives you more information about an individual, an object, or an observation. Now, let's drop our attention to what is written about data in Oxford Dictionary, which is one of the top trending dictionaries in the world. It says the quantities, characters, or symbols on which operations are performed by a computer, which may be stored and transmitted in the form of electrical signals and recorded on magnetic, optical, or mechanical recording media, is what is data. Understanding the individual object or observation requires us to explore the term data. Friends, data is therefore a form of wealth, and exploiting it results in an essential competitive advantage for an even tougher context. And in the big data age, which we are in as on today, we will come across many different types of data, and each of them require different tools and techniques on how do you handle it. Okay, now that you have at least an idea about what data is, you may be wondering where this data comes from. We will What we will do, we will quickly give you an overview of the usual type of data that is encountered. Has anybody got any issues or any doubts till this point what we have seen? And once again, friends, as we go ahead together in this 50 hours, I don't want to pause in between. I don't want to ask you whether you got a doubt or anything of that kind. See, friends, I have studied in the top universities in this country. And what happens in this universities like BITS Pilani, there are nothing like a class that is conducted. The faculty, before going home, he says all these topics to be revised. The next day, he doesn't come to the class and start narrating some stories. He asks, is there any doubt in anybody's mind on all these topics? And minute somebody poses a doubt, that topic is discussed for throughout the class to clarify the doubt. See, this concept of conducting class, I tell you, write something, you write, this only happens in first standard, second standard, and kindergarten. So kindly, since we are all engineers, definitely let's grow up from this. But still, I don't mind. I told you this for the reason that we won't be stopping anywhere in between, where once we start the class, if at all you got a doubt, please just pause in between. You can tell me, excuse me, sir, I've got something to ask, I've got a query. You can please satisfy your query, so that your mind is left trouble free or without any kind of distortion. Because don't and I would request you, please do not get into the concept writing some message and telling me what is this, which what I would do when I'm solving any problem, I generally try to what is it, wink my eyes on those kind of things. You stop me in between, you ask me in whichever language you want, you ask me, you tell me what is this thing, please clarify it to me, definitely we will help you out. Okay, see, we had given you an overview. What we will do, we will see an overview of the usual type of data that is encountered. The first, I would say, the main source of data is database. Database generally is represented in a rectangular format. What do you mean by a rectangular format? A rectangular format is something which has got rows and columns. Say I have columns, I have rows, data represent like an Excel sheet. That means this is a rectangular format. Okay, there are a plethora of technologies, say from Hadoop to SQL, to ensure the recovery and the storage of data. The databases may include different types of information. It can be the log of a web server, banking transactions, and so on and so on, which I'm very much sure you must have seen. What do you mean by this concept of database? This becomes what is structured data, because it is structured in the form of a row and column. So as if I mention anytime structured data, immediately what should come to your mind? Data is in the form of rows and columns. It is in a rectangular format. So that is a structured data. Now the other form of data is raw data. See, other raw data, often more complex and requiring specific pre-processing to make them manipulable by the algorithms, can serve as a source for a modeling problem. Please understand, see, data such as maybe text. See, all the text that is written in natural language by humans is another main source of data, which includes all type of text that can be thought of naturally, which can be books, articles, periodicals, and so on and so on. But also other type of text such as HTML code or even DNA sequences form a part of text analytics. Now, the other form of data can be image, audios, and videos. See, this image, audio, and video are data types that pose specific challenge to a data scientist. Images, audios, and videos are also helpful to capture as a source of data. There are many images, audios, and videos are available to process in our ecosystem. The image, audio, and video processing is a field of research in its own right. For example, see, there is a concept called deep mind, which has succeeded at creating an algorithm that is capable of learning how to play video games. You can Google this concept and see on the concept of deep mind, which is wonderful. It has successfully created an algorithm that is capable of learning how to play video games. The next form of data is IoT. You must have definitely learnt it as a subject or must have heard of this, is Internet of Things. See, these connected objects are another source of raw data, which retrieves a large amount of data through their sensors. The IoT contributes to double the size of the digital universe every 2 years, which could be around 44,000 billion gigabytes in 2020, 10 times, which is more than what the figure of 2013 was. The connected objects thus extend the scope of the internet, allowing any object, machine, or living entity to transmit information about its environment and eventually be activated remotely. See, our concept of what we are having, this theoretical part, will be only restricted to what is being done today. After this, it is fully hands-on, 100% hands-on. Now I would take a few days for you to for me to get the roll number and the proper names of all you guys. I would put you chaps on canvas, so that, and give you a link, so that give you a link to that, so that you get it on your mobile as well as on email, that there is some assignment or some notice or some notification or some announcement waiting for you on the canvas. I would take a few days. The only reason few days, because I'm really very busy and I've got a lot of travel involved in this week as well as early next week. So when I get time in between, definitely I'll do it. Okay, so data has moved all over from bytes to yottabytes. YOTTABYTE. Have you heard of this term, yottabytes? Anybody heard of this term? What is a yottabyte?
No, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. See, all revolutions have in common a complete change in the technical system that influences society. The typographic printing press was started somewhere in 1450 or 1460, was a symbol of the first industrial revolution. And this first industrial revolution brought mechanization, centralized factories, and industrial capitalists. And according to this historian Elizabeth, somewhere between 1450 and 1500, nearly 8 million books were printed, the equivalent of all that has been produced by the scribes of Europe since the foundation of Constantinople. As the stock of information in the world doubled in almost 50 years, it has doubled again in just last 3 years. There is an information explosion. That is, in 2011 alone, 1.8 zettabytes of data was created. And according to IBM, the proliferation of web pages, image, and video applications, social network, mobile device, app, sensor, and so on is able to generate more than 2.5 quintillion bytes per day, to the extent that 90% of the world's data have been created over the past few years. See, in 1999, one of America's most famous or important retail chain had a database of around 1000 terabyte, which is nothing but around 10,000 gigabyte of data. In 2004, Walmart claimed to have the largest data warehouse with 500 terabyte storage. And by 2012, this quantity had grown to over 2.5 petabytes, that is 2.5 million gigabytes of data. And in 2008, eBay told that their storage had amounted to around 8 petabytes. 3 years later, Yahoo warehoused around 170 petabytes of data. Huge, phenomenal amount of data. And you will see that most of this data has been something which has been gathered in the last 3 years, or data has grown up in the last 3 years. Now, let me give you a small little this thing. Can you tell me? See, you must be knowing what is 1 byte. It is 8 bytes, correct? 8 bits, you can say. 1 kilobyte is 10 to the power 3 bytes. How much is 1 megabytes? How many bytes is it? You can tell me in terms of 10 with the base 10 raised to power whatever it is. 1 megabyte is how many bytes? Anybody? Don't worry, yeah. At the max, what would happen? It would be wrong. Don't worry. Don't feel ashamed. You can tell me how much is 1 megabyte.
1024 kilobytes.
I told you, tell me in the terms of 10 to the power. You're right what you said. You're correct. But in terms of 10 raised to how many bytes? 1 megabyte is 10 raised to power 6 bytes. Then is 1 gigabyte. How much is 1 gigabyte? Which is written as GB. How much is 10 raised to power 20? Yes, you are very correct. It is 10 raised to power 9 bytes. Then came the concept of terabytes, TB. How much is 1 terabyte? How many bytes?
12.
Yeah, it is 10 raised to power 12 bytes. Then came the concept of petabyte, PB. How much is 1 petabyte?
15.
Yeah, it is 10 raised to power 15 bytes. Then came the concept of exabyte, which is written as EB. EB. How much is 1 EB? It is 10 raised to power 18 bytes. Then came the concept of zettabyte, which is written as ZB. How much is 1 ZB? It is 110 raised. Yeah, correct. It's 10 raised to power 21 bytes. Then came the concept of yottabyte, which is written as YB. 1 yottabyte is 102 raised to the power 4 bytes. It is so huge. 102 raised to the power 4 bytes is 1 yottabyte. See, this financial institutions, companies, and health service providers and administrations generate large quantity of data through their interaction with suppliers, patients, customer, and employees. Beyond those interactions, large volume of data are created through internet search, social network, GPS system, and stock market transaction. See, however, what happened? The companies that produce, manage vast sets of data on a daily basis now commonly use terms such as terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, and even yottabytes. Now, see, since we have seen the fundamentals of what this thing is, what is data, let's define what is big data, which is our bread and butter for this course which we are doing together. See, we know data exists over time. It is not new. But what makes them so important is the rapid rate and different forms in which they have been produced in recent time, or what brings us to turn from data to big data. Big data, friends, is created digitally and collected automatically. Please remember this, underline this line. It is big data is created digitally and collected automatically. Berman, a gentleman, identified six different mechanisms through which data can be founded. He said the data are already collected in the course of normal activities and are waiting to be used. The data owner does not want to discover or to do anything, but to do what it has always been doing better. The second, he said, the data are already collected, but new activities are supported by the data. And the third, he said, a business model is planned based on a big data resource. An example of this mechanism is data intensive services such as Amazon. And the fourth, what he said was, he said, a group of entities that have large data resources federate their data resources. For example, you can say hospital databases. And the last, what he said, or sorry, the fifth, what he said was large amount of data is collected and organized to benefit an organization and their user clients. And these projects require skill and vision. And now coming to the last thing, what he said was big data resources are built from scratch. No data and no big data technology existed before big data. We all know one thing which you must have heard of. Big data is a concept which for which there are three V's associated with it. Minute you say three V's means it is something got to do with big data. There are some books which says 5V and 7V and 9V. No, predominantly there are three V's which form a part of big data. And in this, the first V is for volume, which basically refers to the size of data. The second V is for velocity, which refers to the data provisioning rate and the time within which it is needed to act on them. And the third V is variety, which refers to the heterogeneity of data acquisition, data representation, and semantic interpretation. And these three dimensions, what we have told, will help us to define what is big data. Or in one popular definition of big data is big data is an information asset whose volume is large, velocity is high, and formats are various. There are other definitions of big data which says that big data is something which refers to data sets whose size is beyond the ability of typical database software tools to capture, store, manage, and analyze. This definition is intentionally subjective and incorporates a moving definition of how big a data set needs to be in order to become big data. That is, we don't define big data in terms of being larger than a certain number of terabytes, which is thousands of gigabytes. We assume that as technology advances over time, the size of data sets that qualify as big data will also increase. And definitely, this concept also varies sector by sector. Now, let's throw some more light on this three V's which we told about big data. Like what we have written on the screen, saying the three V's are something which describe big data really well. The first one, the three V's, which are generally used to describe this phenomenon, explain basically how big data represents the arrival of technologies that allow for a whole new approach to data. Modern information technology, incremental computing power, and online digitalization have opened up new options for utilizing automatically collected and store data from various sources in multiple formats. Friends, in this case, the traditional way of formatting information from transactional systems to make them available for statistical processing does not work in a situation where data is arriving in huge volumes from diverse sources and where even the formats could be changing. Can somebody give me an example of big data? Anyone live example of big data? With all this whatever small little things which are described about what is big data, something which is confirming to three V's. Can you tell me some example on big data, please? Anybody? Anybody tell me?
Movie recommendation.
No, that doesn't become big data, not at all. So, sorry. No, you see all these examples, what you're telling, all these are academic examples. Put yourself outside this shoe of an academic institution. Think big.
Medical history.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
Medical history. What kind of
Medic.
disease? Yes.
Yeah, that is true, or it very correct, or it can be even things like you're measuring the wind speed, wind temperature, the soil conditions, which change on a second by second basis, and in a second itself it can change many times. So things of this kind, you can qualify it to be big data, something where which will generate huge volume of data. And traditional analysis methods have been based largely on the assumption that we can work with data within the confines of their own computing environment. But the growth of the amount of data is changing this paradigm, especially the progress in computational data analysis. See, this big data has put a great challenge on the current statistical methodology and computational tools. With this growing size, which typically comes with this growing size, it also comes a growing complexity of data structures, data pattern, and the models needed to account for this pattern. Friends, working with big data and applying a series of data analysis techniques in today's world, which is becoming increasingly obsessed with big data more than virtually anything else, requires very strong multidisciplinary skill, knowledge of statistics, and computer science. That is why what I will show you a small little picture on the screen. I don't have a slide, I can just draw it out for you. When you speak anything of data, or what qualifies rightly for a data scientist, which I would say is the grandfather of all these concepts, of the concept of big data analysis, data analytics, data mining, whatever in data, the grandfather of that is data science. Exactly what it means, it is something which lies at the intersection of these three circles, that is at this area. This area is something where the concept of data science or big data analytics lie. What are these three circles? This circle is what is computer programming, and the second circle is what is statistics or mathematics, and the third circle is what is domain knowledge. Now, what are all these terms? Computer programming means you have to be abreast in the concept of any of these open source language, that is R, Python, and as on today even Julia. You have to be wonderful in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. You have to be abreast with NLP and NLTK, as well as with CNN, RNN, and faster RCNN, everything. Then, since you cannot forget on the concept of Hadoop, you have to be good in Hadoop, MapReduce, Pig, Hive, Kafka, Zookeeper, Ambari, all the way till Spark. Then, apart from this, you have to be also good in the tools of OpenCV, which is used for image processing. Definitely, since everything is moving towards the cloud, you have to be also good with the number one database which is used in the cloud, which is MongoDB. You have to be good in this, and you have to learn all concepts right from the simple NumPy pandas through Dockers to Kubernetes, which is cloud-based containerization. all these things. But you have to be also good in the top visualization tools in the world, that is on Tableau, Tableau, Power BI, and QlikView, QlikView. These tools. This would get you in some good state. And definitely, when we speak about R and Python, you have to be good. I would prefer to remain silent on the inbuilt visualization tool. That is, you're good in R, you have to be good in ggplot2 and QQplot. Python, you have to be good in the fundamental plotting library, which is matplotlib. Also, you need to be good in Seaborn and Bokeh, which is used for live plotting of data. All these things you have to be good end to end. Then you can say you're comfortable with this circle where I've told computer programming. Then comes statistics. Now the concept of statistics, as on today, you just need to learn 50 statistical techniques, 50, that's all. But almost all the problems in today's world are taken as problems under extreme uncertainty. So there is only one technique in the world which can solve such kind of problem, that is Monte Carlo approach. Once you are wonderful with this, you are able to solve all the problem. But don't worry, friends, as we go ahead in this course, we will make sure that you are also made abreast with all these things. Then comes the last circle of domain knowledge. This domain knowledge you will never get in any of the market in Hyderabad, not even Charminar or Golgumbas or whichever the market in Trimalgeri or all this. You won't get it there. Domain knowledge is something which comes by experience, which you need to be experienced with. The top three trending domains as on today are healthcare, finance, finance, and one more is there, fin- uh, healthcare and finance. Yeah, these are the top two trending domains in the industry. But no problem, even if you're not conversant with the domain knowledge, you have to be good in the first two circle for you to get a wonderful job. And we will make sure that all of you guys, at least as far as possible, I'll push you for you guys to get wonderful job. Maybe you're in the third year, you got one more year, no problem. At the end of fourth year, you please revert back to me, drop a mail to me or give me a call saying you're from ISL. I'll definitely help you out how much ever it's possible by me. Definitely we will help you out to be on top in the industry. Okay, see, in addition to understanding this big data means dealing with data volumes that are significantly larger than those previously analyzed at, and I would say, an incomparable speed, all while integrating a widely rich data variety. So each of these V's, three V's, deserve, I would say, some kind of clarification. See, big data is something which implies an enormous volume of data. This volume is regarded as the first dimension for set points from big data. However, this first V of volume is the least operational and most variable depending on the sector and the organization. Today, friends, we are talking about storing and analyzing exabytes, which is 10 to the power 18, or even zettabytes, which is 10 to the power 21 bytes. Whereas just some around 9, 10 years ago, we were talking about megabytes, 10 to the power 6, which are stored on floppy disk. These days you find almost all the computers which you buy from the market, they don't have a floppy drive in them. There is nothing like a floppy. You never get any floppy in the market. Even I remember in my days when I was doing my masters, we used to run around to get floppies so that you store something and give it to your faculty. See, the volume of data, friend, is enormous and a large contributor to the ever expanding digital universe in the IoT, with sensors all over the world in all devices creating data every second. And this flow of data is massive and continuous beside the speed at which data is created currently. Every minute, friends, we upload a huge amount of video data on YouTube. In addition, billions of emails are sent, billions of photos are viewed and uploaded, thousands of tweets are sent, and billions of queries on Google are performed. This speed is what is referred to as the velocity at which data is created, analyzed, and stored. This means that immediacy and instantaneousness of receiving or transmitting data by all of us and for several activities is very, very important and compels companies to improve the reaction and anticipation velocity. The diversity of sources and format of data represents a real technological challenge. So we have seen on these three aspects of volume, velocity, and variety. Now comes a big question in our mind. Why now? And what does this bring? Of these three V concept, any normal person would have this kind of a I would say an idea in his mind. The added value of big data is the ability to identify useful data and turn this into usable information by identifying patterns, exploiting new algorithms, tools, and new project solutions. The idea behind the term big data is that it justifies that we are talking about revolution and not a simple development of data analysis. What big data brings is the ability to process and analyze all types of data in their original form by integrating new methods and new ways of working. It is the fact that these three V's change completely the way in which data is addressed by putting it at the center of the transformation. See, there are many companies such as this Netflix, Google, Uber, Facebook, Twitter, Nike, and many others illustrate that data can deliver value in almost any area of business. Turning this data into knowledge and then turning that information into knowledge remains a key factor for any kind of business success. This is what I had said, which we will be doing in Tableau. And my request to all of you who are present here today, we are a group of how many of us are there? We are a group of around 72 of you who are present here. I would request you, please see as far as possible that you don't miss even a single session, for the reason that there will be a lot of tools and techniques which you would have missed out. Definitely you would have missed out on a lot of them. So at this point, I would ask you, wonderful guys, can you tell me, if I want to describe all these things what I told about data in the form of a knowledge pyramid, what is that which will be there at the base of the pyramid? Oh, sorry. What is that which will be there at the base of the pyramid and at the top of the pyramid? Say I draw a triangle in this way. What will be there at the base of the pyramid and what is there at the top of this pyramid? See, basically, I want you to tell me what will be there as part of this knowledge pyramid. And once again, I'll request you, see, since all these classes are virtual, it is a human tendency that you Google it out and see the answer. But friends, please remember one thing, most of the answers which are there on Google are grossly incorrect, because even today you want to write some story about big data, you can write and put it on the net. You put it, your friend will read it, your friend puts it, you will read it. It is not really necessary that it is correct. So what is that? If I want to draw up a knowledge pyramid, what is that which is at the base of this pyramid? Anybody?
Data.
Yeah, wonderful. See, this data, this entire pyramid is of data only. At the base of the pyramid, what I will be having is big data. So here I will be having big data, and on top of big data is what I'll do, I'll convert this big data into information, and this information I will convert it into knowledge, and this knowledge I'll convert it into wisdom. So what I want from all of you, my expectation is at the end of this 50 hours, all of you should have reached this concept of wisdom. From where we start off from big data, you should have reached this concept of wisdom where you're on top of the pyramid. Okay, see, to understand this, take it in this way. We need data. We need to know what we want to do with it and how to do it. That's all what tells you about what this pyramid describes, or this knowledge pyramid tells a person. We want you to be at the top of the pyramid, the best in the industry as on today. So definitely, and I'm very much sure that after I spoke to your HOD, definitely your wonderful students, you would be able to reach at the top of the pyramid in no time. Now, see, we need to understand that this big data is a revolution that changes the game. Okay, see, with this advent of this digital technology and smart devices, a large amount of varied data is being generated every day. The volume of data will continue to grow and in a very, very real way. This widespread production of data has resulted in the age of big data that we had seen just some time back. The data we produce as well as other data we accumulate constitute a constant source of knowledge. Big data, friends, is therefore about collecting, analyzing, and using data efficiently and quickly with new tools in order to gain a competitive advantage by turning data into knowledge and thus generate value from the data. Beyond what is big data and how it may impact the business context, we will see the other sides that have not we have not addressed it earlier. See, there is a big I would say there is a big life after beyond this three V's. We said any data which conforms to three V's is big data: volume, velocity, and variety. But there is a life beyond this three V. Big data, friends, please understand, is high volume, high velocity, and or high variety information that demand cost effective, innovative form of processing, and that enables enhanced insight, decision making, and process automation. Definitely, this is what is big data. Big data is also something that goes beyond these three V's. There are some researchers who integrate seven additional dimensions to the data, and each of these dimensions starts with V. Let's see what is that these big researchers have told about big data. Researchers say big data is not something which conforms to 3V, it is something which conforms to 7Vs. And in this 7Vs, the first is variability, which is the multitude of data dimension resulting from multiple disparate data types and sources. Then you've got the second V is veracity, which is the confidence or trust in the data. That is the provenance or reliability of the data source, its context, and how meaningful it is for the analysis. The third V is validity. That is how accurate and correct are the data for their intended use. Then the fourth V is vulnerability, which is the fact that a growing number of people are becoming switched on to the fact that their personal data are being gobbled up by this gigabyte used to pry into their behavior and ultimately sell them the things. Then the next V is volatility, which describes how long data obtained in the original source is available and how long it should be stored. And the last V, what we have got is value, which is nothing but the end game. End game after addressing the other V's. And it refers to the benefit of big data that can be gained through appropriate analysis. So, once again, a quick recap of all these seven V's. We have variability, we have got veracity, we have got validity, we have got vulnerability, we have got volatility, we have got visualization and value. These are the seven V's of big data. Minute something confirms to the 7V, then you can say this is big data. Okay, till here, has anybody got to ask me anything? Anybody? Anything you want to ask me? Please be free and you can ask me. Don't shy it out. See, you are getting to hear something new. But for me, it is an old term which I've been using in and out. So I would request you, if you've got anything to ask me, kindly feel free. and shoot out your question so that we make an earnest attempt to answer or clarify whatever you have got. Please ask me what it is. Anything you want to ask me, please feel free. You can ask me. What I just now said was the 7 V's of big data. Anybody, anything? Okay, fine. See, so what have we done till now? We have migrated from 3 V's, gone up till 7 V's. See, these interrelated V's, which I've told as part of the 7 V, in addition to the 3 V's, are related to the quality of data and measure if the data have usefulness and are value relevant for their intended purpose. So this is necessary because this can support decision making in an effective and efficient way, and data only matters when they are useful. See, but what do we need to do now with after having understood as to what is big data? We have to get over from understanding data to knowledge. If you were to remember this pyramid which we drew of this knowledge pyramid, see, this advent of IT tools has led to an explosion of data and has been driven by computerization of production, service delivery, and even the private sphere. Data available today are very, very different from data that existed before. Data is collected from various sources and it can be in different infrastructures such as cloud or in different databases such as rows, columns, or file. This data can be from any source and in any format. But please remember, more than 95% of data which is available today is in an unclean format, not in the rectangular format which can be fed as a database. It is not in that format. It is for you to change the format of this. Can anybody give me some example of unstructured or semi-structured data? Any example, live example, please? Anybody? Make an attempt so that I know that you are with me.
Web pages?
Yes, you're very, very correct. It can be web pages, newspaper, social network, e-commerce, indexing, documents, photos, video storage, link data, and so on, so on, so on. You can even have data from sensor networks and even from the smart grid, call logs. You can have email, news, Facebook feed, documents, GPS, mobile phone. You can have even the genomics, astronomy, on and even on subatomic physics. You can even have transaction histories in the supermarket chain. You can even have medical files and even social network sites such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Any of this data, this and so many more of this kind, you can have in the form of semi-structured or unstructured data. See, previously data was usually defined in a quantitative form. That is, data being values that describe a measurable quantity, and qualitative form, that is describing of qualities or characteristics. These type of data will be considered as structured data because they require a simple transformation before issuing their meaning. But this is absolutely not the same case when we are faced with unstructured or semi-structured data. Data can be divided into internal and external data as well as structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. See, friends, we may be wondering what this has to do with the types of data that were previously presented. In fact, by analyzing such data, we apply a treatment aim to reduce them to a sequence of numbers that can be interpreted by machine learning algorithm. Thus, it is easy to understand the need for powerful algorithms to process these types of complex data. Friends, in addition to these categories, it is also helpful to look at data variety from a company's perspective. We can have, from a company's perspective, data can be of two types. It can be internal data or external data, or whatever. Along with capturing data from internal sales information and sensors, companies can also track public response on Facebook, Twitter, or other social media. See, friends, when analyzed optimally, each type of data brings valuable insights that business leaders can use to make accurate and timely decisions. Business leaders also admit that the role of digital technologies in is really shifting very rapidly from being a driver of marginal efficiency to an enabler of fundamental innovation and disruption. So, what happens? These new types of data may be intended to enrich the types existing before. Information is derived and then knowledge is produced, which is called the target paradigm of knowledge discovery, or which is even called as knowledge pyramid, which is the one which we drew in this pyramid, which you see on the screen, where data lies at the base. Big data is there at the base. There are some big people who have told that the value of information begins with data, which takes on value throughout its evolution until it achieves its objectives and specifies an action to take during a decision. Information is a message with a higher level of meaning. It is raw data that a subject in turn transforms into knowledge through a cognitive or intellectual operation. So, this is what forms our knowledge pyramid, which we had seen at the bottom. We have big data, then above that, we have information, above that, we have knowledge, and at the apex, we have wisdom. This is our knowledge pyramid, which we had drawn some time back. So, all these things, when you take together, or this concept of big data, which we've been seeing for the last about around 45 minutes or 1 hour plus, what does this entail? This entails us to improve decision making. This traditionally, the decision making process is shaped on the model of limited rationality, intelligence, modeling, choice, and control. Now, with this exploitation of big data, this process has been made more complicated and has to improve. However, friends, decision making, business strategy development, and the anticipation of change have always been dependent on the quantity and quality of data available. The explosion of a phenomenal amount of data and the need to analyze puts forward the hierarchical model of what? From data to knowledge. The hierarchy is by nature a multidisciplinary endeavor. Computer scientists construct algorithms to manipulate and organize the data, aided by statisticians and mathematicians who instruct on the development and application of quantitative methodology. Thus, what happens? Database experts collect and warehouse the data. Software designers write programs that apply the analytics algorithms to the data. Engineers build electronics and hardware to implement the programming, and subject matter or domain experts, that is, the biologists, chemists, economists, and social scientists, interpret the finding. The most important asset of large volume of data has to do with the fact that they make it possible to apply knowledge and create considerable value. However, friends, in traditional models, key value creation activities can be described using the value chain. See, this concept of value chain, which is primarily geared to the physical world, treats data as a supporting doc element rather than a source of value itself. But a correct utilization of these data in the decision making process is not at all easy. The main challenge of using data is not in their collection, but in the choice of which data should be sought and how to make sense of them. So, what happens? The process of decision making begins when the top manager has to choose data, which data to look for, even before starting to collect data. Definitely, he has to see that which data to look for even before he starts collecting. Organizations need to use a structured view of data to improve the decision making process. To achieve this structured view, they have to collect and store data, perform an analysis, and transform the results into useful and valuable information. Friends, please understand, big data has the potential to aid in identifying opportunities related to decision making in the intelligence phase of. There is a famous model by the name of Simon's model, where the intelligence refers to knowledge discovery. The intelligence phase is about finding the occasions in which a decision should be made. See, the companies must first understand the potential value creation of connected devices and big data in their market. There are four capabilities of connected objects concerned combined with big data. The first is, you can say, monitoring, then you got control, then you got optimization, and then finally autonomy. Okay, at this point, can I ask you, has anybody got any queries or anything to ask me? Okay, fine. Now, see, taken into account. The first and the foremost is the data complexity. See, you have to ask yourself, can users really absorb data as at today's rate or even tomorrow? Can you absorb the data? Once you are able to answer it yourself, you are in a comfortable state. See, first of all, data, especially in an industrial environment, can be presented in several different ways, such as text, functions, curves, images, and graphs, or a combination of these elements. On the I would say, on the other hand, these data show great variety, which often reflects the complexity of the studied phenomenon. So, data complexity is growing with the increase in its quantity, its velocity, and diversification of its types and sources. Then, what you need to keep in mind is on the concept of quality of data. Because please understand, not all data are the right data. Data are the indispensable raw material of one of the new century's most important activities. Friends, please be careful. In our analysis and prediction procedure, a lot of data are not the right data. There is therefore underlying difficulty behind big data, since more data are not necessarily better data. Now, since the implementation of the first data warehouse in the 90s, the question of the quality of data has been a major issue. See, US came out with a concept called GIGO. That is, US came out, and I'm very sure you must be knowing what is GIGO. US told that when you speak about data, there is one concept called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, which became widespread. So there is nothing new about this description. Only data quality will help produce an event, a forecast, or strategic information, and define an action layer. The reconciliation of internal and external data has always been a challenge, and it is possible to obtain better results by making better use of available data. Now, when researchers encounter a set of data, they need to understand not only the limits of the available data, but also the limits of the question that it can respond to, as well as the range of possible appropriate interpretation. See, the ultimate goal is not only to collect the data, but to combine or analyze all the data, but also to increase its value and efficiency. See, you minute you speak about data, you cannot do a postman's job that just collect data, combine it, analyze it. You have to increase its value and efficiency. This means that we must evolve from the term big data to smart data, since the effectiveness of company strategy now depends only on the quality of data. Please understand, I would say that indeed companies must not only rely on the size of their data. It is not useful. This data is just not useful unless it is applied in an intelligent manner. Therefore, the volume of data is of little importance since internal data must be combined with external data in order for a company to obtain the most out of their data. So, to make the most use of this big data, the idea is not limited to simple technical issue of collection, storage, and processing speed. Big data use big data use requires rethinking the process of collecting and processing and the way data is managed. It is the analysis that will be applied to data that will justify big data, and friend, not the collection of data itself. Now you're seeing some good aspects of data that you need to look for. What else is left? Yes, we have forgotten on the concept of data security. Friend, very, very important concept. While big data regularly becomes an important issue of research and has been used everywhere in many industries, big data security has become an increasing concern. Friends, nevertheless, there is a noticeable challenge between big data security and the use of big data. See, this big data and its sister, the IoT, offer substantial development prospects for individuals and businesses. With this advent of big data comes the risk of greater security breach. Why? Because the data volume is increasing. Today's environments face threatens the three V's of big data. Each of these is increasing at an astounding rate and require a shift in how security vendors manage threat. The diversity and high volume of data sources, formats, and data flow combined with the streaming nature of data acquisition create unique security risks. So, the security issues are magnified by the three V's of big data and the use of large scale cloud infrastructure with diversity of software platform spread across large network of computers also increases the attack surface on the entire system. Data security not only involves, you can say, encryption of data, but also ensures that appropriate policies are enforced for data sharing. Security aims to preserve digital system against malicious actions while target confidentiality, integrity, or the availability of the system itself. See, an effective cyber security solution must develop technical and organizational countermeasures while staying up to date in response to this challenging threat. There are immense amount of threats, but please understand big data also provides big opportunities for you, and there are huge amount of challenges. In a nutshell, what are the challenges? Definitely the dimension of big data, the technological context, the managerial context. All these things pose a big problem on big data. Now, since we are at the fag end of our session for today, before we even wind up, I have got a request to all of you. See, the next week, I have been made to understand that we will be having classes just twice a week. So, whenever our next session, which possibly should be on the next Thursday, I would request all of you to kindly download Anaconda Navigator. Please download Anaconda Navigator. When you enter the web page of Anaconda Navigator, it is a free tool. Say it is for individual use. If it is for individual use, it is free. You don't need any password, nothing. Download Anaconda Navigator. Please click to open Anaconda Navigator and see if R is running, because we start off with R programming the next week, which will be right from the word go. It will be 100% hands on. So please click on R, just see if the screen opens up. Worst come worst, R does not open, don't worry. R, for at least the concept of R, it makes no difference whether R is run as part of Anaconda Navigator or as a standalone package. Please download R from the CRAN library. This is very important. CRAN is Comprehensive R Archive Network. Please download R as part of CRAN library, install it on your system, double click it, open the shortcut which comes on your desktop, see if R is running. That is it. Because if at all R is not running, then you are in trouble for the next class which we'll be having the next week. We will be having fully practical, and I will request you, more than being like today, more than 95% of you are on your mobile. Kindly be on your laptop with your headsets, for the reason that you can understand what is going on. You can understand, you can do it yourself, and you should ensure, I would say, that R is up and running on your system. Otherwise nothing you'll understand from the next week, because our first session for the next, or the first topic which we cover, as I told you some time back, is R. We will be starting off with R programming, which is very important. We will see why is it that R is used, where is it that R is used. I will even show you what will be covered as part of the session. And definitely, like, I strongly believe it is the crying baby that gets the milk. You have to do little fast, for the reason that how much ever you push me, that much I'll be able to cover for you. You have to push me to the limit, so that I am able to cover more and more and more. But after our first and second session, or first and the second topic, which is second one being statistics for BDA using R, you should be able to write programs. In fact, I would say before the first session gets over itself, you should be able to write programs in R. You have to be abreast. At this time, you will have to remember or recollect what has been taught as part of machine learning for you, what has been taught as part of deep learning for you to write real time projects. We will do a lot of projects, lots of projects using R. But all this is subject to the condition that you have R up and running on your system. Now, I have finished it up for today. Has anybody got anything to ask me? Anybody, please feel free. You can ask me whatever you want, because the formally we start our class from the today, although being an introductory session, formally we would start off from our first topic the next week when we meet up. Kindly be on time for the class with R up and running for you.
Yes, student. If you have any doubt, please ask the concerned faculty, Dr. Suresh, and as sir has requested, please be ready with R on a system. And if you have any problem in uploading or downloading the R, you can just come to the college. We will help you up, and hopefully, inshallah, we will be getting about 10 to 15 or 20 system ready for you, or maximum 30 25 system. If you don't have any laptop or something like that, you can come to the college and do this session, which is very interactive. And if you have any doubt, please get in touch with the sir, or you can just post in the chat box, something like that. Sir has already given his phone number. You can just WhatsApp him also. He is always available on WhatsApp, which I have gone through it, and also available on the mail, which he's already, I have seen it. So I request you to please go on the mail as well as on a phone number, WhatsApp him. Please don't call anybody. It's not your engineering college professor or something like that. You can just post it. You just post an SMS. Whenever he's free, he will get in touch with you. There's no issues. And if you have, probably I'll try my level best to find out what the sir has told about the website, our programming, and I'll share the link in the group. As well as what I'll do that I'll make arrangement for minimum 25 system for with our programming, so that you can able to, if you don't have any laptop or something like that, you can able to come down and do. I'll try my level best to help you up. Please, please, please come online. Go according to the subject. I have tried my level best to get the sir on board. I request you the same from my side, from CSC department. Please do something that will help you in coming days. Yeah. Thank you very much. From my side, please, sir, you can just do it.
Yeah. Anybody got anything to ask? You can ask me, or this is my email ID and this is my contact number. You can reach out. And worst come worst, if you call me and I don't pick up the call or cut your call, it does not mean that I want to avoid your call. No, it must be I must be in some meeting somewhere because I'm working in industry. I got n number of meeting, or I might be with the client. And definitely, if you call me, please drop a text message, a WhatsApp message. I'm round the clock on WhatsApp. Or the best and the best option is please drop an email to me within at the shortest possible time. I'll revert back to you because most of the time in a day I'm on my mail, most of the time in a day. So definitely I would revert back to you, unless otherwise I got some meeting or some session or something going on. Because friends, please understand, currently I'm conducting this session for four different lot of people. One is I'm conducting for Australian university. There is a university in Australia by the name of RI, Institute of Melbourne Technology, RIMT, which is at Melbourne, which is the number 2 university in Australia. I conduct the session in data science for them. Second, I am also conducting for host lot of nationals at Sultanate of Oman. And the third is I am conducting for a big institute in Bangalore the session in data science. So if I don't pick up, definitely I've got so many projects to work upon and so many people working under me. So definitely I would revert back definitely to you at the shortest possible time. Anything you want to ask, you can drop a mail to me at ssuresh.kr@hotmail.com. I'll definitely revert back to you. Chalo, if you got anything, please ask me. Otherwise, we wind up this session. Yeah, please tell
Sir,
me.
sir, in Anaconda, we have Jupyter notebook, R Studio, and Canberry. What will be gonna use for our?
See, we will be using. Yeah, देखो. See, I'll do one thing. Just now, I'll just open this. I'll open this thing and show it to you. See, I'll open the Anaconda Navigator for the reason that you get to see what is this. What is this Anaconda Navigator? See, Anaconda Navigator has got about 8 to 9 bullets in front of you. You need to open the right one, which is relevant to for you guys. Then we will be using our studio in that. We will be using only our studio to start off. See, it has got all these things in this. Anaconda Navigator says I've got Data Lore, IBM Watson Cloud, Jupyter Lab, Notebook, Qt Console, Spider, Gluevis, PyCharm, and R Studio. We will be using only R Studio for this, for our purpose in R. As we go ahead, we'll use the other things also. Don't worry. Anybody, anything else?
Are there any prerequisites that we need to know?
Statistics. You need to brush up your knowledge on statistics, Saida. You need to brush up your knowledge on statistics, because if we start speaking about statistics, then we are going backwards. We are not going ahead. We are going backwards. Statistics, which has been taught to you only in your school till 12th standard, whichever board you have studied, starting from how do you calculate the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, interquartile range, all these fundamental concepts of statistics. You have to be good in that. Just do one thing. You can Google it out and see on the internet on what are these things and how do you mathematically calculate. You need to understand the mathematics behind them. That's all. Because if we start doing mathematics for them, then we are going backwards. We won't be able to go ahead. Anybody think anything else? Yeah, thank you. Anybody? Chalo, thank you. We will meet up the next week when we got a session, and please join on time. Okay, and you need to have a seamless connection so that you don't miss out anything. Thank you. Have a good day and have a wonderful weekend.
Updating you with other things. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.